Do you remember bouncing out of bed at 3 or 4 years old, excited about what the day would bring? All giggles and joy. I do. I remember that. In fact, I remember a day in particular where um, I jumped out of bed and ran into the other room, and breakfast was being sizzled in the kitchen by my mother and my dad, my stepfather at the time. Was splayed on the couch watching TV or doing something. I can't remember what he was doing, but one of our rituals was for me to give him I would tweeze out the hairs and the razor bumps that he would get from shaving. It's I don't know how many people remember, or if there's anyone else that remembers having to do that. I didn't have to do it, but it was a joy ritual for me because I got to be close to him, and for some reason I knew how to do that. I don't remember being trained, but I was an expert. I did a great job, and he seemed to appreciate it very much. Those are good times. That's a joy time that stands out in my memory. I have a couple of those. Remember those joy times. Time passed, and I don't know how much time. I was little. They started arguing and fighting over money and women that he would be seeing on the side. I presume I gathered that as I got older. um, but that was my very first experience of heartbreak when they would fight and then they would get back together and they'd break up again, and finally it was over. And my goodness, this could be a long saga. I won't go into the whole thing, but um, I think it's important for us to remember the joy, that original sweet joy that we had when we were very much younger. I don't know how far back you have to go to get to that original one. Some of us need to go back to the womb, but the point is there is a single spot in your time when it was just all wonder and joy. We need to hang out there. I can't say that enough. Well, they continued to fight, broke up, and it does beg the question, where does heartbreak come from? This was my very first, as far as I can remember, experience with heartbreak. And it haunted me through my life. I would be happy and then I would be sad because of something that someone else was doing that broke my heart. And I seemed to, many of us, seem to repeat these situations of happiness and heartbreak and happiness and heartbreak on and on through time. I distinctly remember thinking that, why me? Why were people doing this to me? It was all happening from the outside. I was never at fault to any major degree. I might acknowledge maybe 10% of the blame, but mostly it was somebody else's fault when I would have this heartbreak. It was a root experience. A root experience that causes expectation. Now it's a program, it's an expectation. And it causes the experience to happen over and over again in different venues, not only in relationships, but in jobs, always looking outside and can cross generations. Yeah, my mother, I really believe that she died from a broken heart. There's an original heartbreak there for her as well that I distinctly, uh, I'm a distinct part of. You see, I could go into that one, but save that for later. But the point is, this heartbreak, these feelings, these emotions are contagious and they can pass from generation to generation. I was never quite understanding um, that I was where the heartbreak is, that I was the one that was continuing to create this cycle of pain for myself, never really wanting to consider ever that someone else had anything, uh, was innocent in this whole thing. It was all about them doing it to me. So I propose that we give the golden rule a new rule. Do unto yourself what you would have others do unto you. Pamper yourself, love yourself, spend time within yourself, melting away this sickness, actually. Is anyone listening to you? Part of the heartbreak is feeling like there's no one listening. I may as well be invisible. I propose that you save your breath, literally, in so many ways, and go within, tap into that deep, powerful resource that you have within to melt away this nonsense, this disease, this pain, these emotions that keep repeating themselves, that cause experiences that keep repeating themselves. Go in there and tap into that resource that frees you. Break yourself free and feel a waterfall of freedom just wash over you. The more you do that, the better you become at it. It's like with any practice. And you begin to experience more and more of that joy, your happy 3-year-old self bubbling through.